Welcome to Breakthrough SaaS Growth with the Jasons, the podcast where we cut through the noise and share strategies that actually drive customer-led growth. Each week, we bring you straight-talking conversations on adoption, retention, expansion, and everything in between. Let's get started.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Breakthrough SaaS Growth with the Jasons. This is Jason Whitehead coming to you from a sunny and exciting Washington, D.C., and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Noble, over in the UK. Say hello, Jason.
Hello, Jason.
Awesome. So we're excited about this episode, which we're going to kick off in just a second here, really focusing about retention and how it used to be the quiet hero of SaaS growth. And, you win a logo, you onboard well, you manage the relationship, and if everything goes well, you keep the revenue. And today, that assumption's kind of gone. Customers can build more internally, budgets are tighter, AI is accelerating alternatives. And for many SaaS customers, GRR just isn't just pressured, it's sort of under attack. And that's really what we're going to focus here today. And so the real question becomes, is AI driving churn, or is it the tool that's going to protect us from it? And we're really excited today. We've got a great guest, Josh Schachter. Josh, I know I just asked you how to pronounce that correctly. So
I'm going to let you fumble through it. Keep going.
Awesome. Thank you. Josh is the SVP of AI strategy and market development at Gainsight. And he's also the host of the Churn podcast. And he founded a company called Update, which is often described as Gong for post-sales, which was acquired by Gainsight. And so he now sits at the intersection of AI and customer success and leadership in post-sales operations. And he spends his days talking to senior leaders about what's actually changing inside SaaS teams, what's really behind the hype. So really excited to have you here, Josh. Thanks. Go ahead and introduce yourself, pronounce your name correctly if you'd like, and just give us the 2-minute version of your path and sort of where you are and what you're focused on now.
Yeah. Hey, Jasons. Nice to be here. Super excited to be on the show with you guys. My name's Josh Schachter. I'm Senior Vice President of Strategy and Market Development at Gainsight, like you said. I had a startup. 5 years ago, I didn't know what customer success was. I'd never heard of customer success. Can you believe it or not?
Wow.
I've been doing product management and startup stuff for a while, some consulting, and then had an opportunity to work with this phenomenal, like the godfather of entrepreneurship in LA. His name is Bill Gross from Idea Lab. And we had like a high level thesis of what we wanted to do, but we weren't quite sure, like many startups, and just started talking to people. I was like, oh, customer success. What is this? Oh, okay. This is a really tight-knit community that cares about each other, that is underserved, doesn't get the respect, it necessarily deserves, at least 5 years ago. We can debate whether that's the case now or not. And so we started Update AI, which was like Gong for post-sales, effectively, if I want to, just kind of marginalize it a little bit. But and then we built some nice relationships, gained a little bit of traction, and off we were to the races and sold to Gainsight last July. So it's been exciting, and now working on some cool stuff with Gainsight.
That's awesome. And you really can't get to a bigger or better market leader than Gainsight when it comes to customer success. So congratulations. That's really exciting, Josh.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear, you work with so many leaders and obviously so wired into the AI space. What do you really see what's happening now? Is AI actually driving retention pressure, or is it just sort of exposing weak value, or are there other sort of market forces that are changing? What are your thoughts on this?
Both. So, you've got, it's driving immense pressure on GRR, immense pressure, because now you can build instead of buy, right? And by the way, like, everybody should be understanding whether they should be building versus buying. They should be playing and tinkering. We'll talk about that later, but like, everybody out there should be vibe coding, right? And learning, whether it's even on the if your corporate systems won't let you do it, then do it personally. Just like get in there, lean in, right? So it has become a threat. I think there's this concept that Cassie Young, partner for Primary Ventures, she had authored a blog a few months ago around this idea of like experimental revenue, ERR, experimental.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I think there's probably a lot of companies out there that have kind of ridden the coattails of AI, like this new wave, and there's like a lot of experimental ERR that's going on. And we'll see if if retention kind of sticks or not with them. But yeah, I think we're now in a place where, our thesis at Gainsight, at least, is SaaS companies need to treat every customer like it's their best customer. You can no longer just bear hug your top strategic, highest enterprise accounts with concierge service. I mean, of course, you still need to do that,
Right.
but you can no longer assume that your lower mid-market or your SMB segments, your long tail, is just going to follow along for under auto renewal.
Right.
This is how it should be, right? It should be that way that
absolutely.
they have to have value delivered to them. And now the stakes have gotten much higher because they can just vibe it themselves, or there's more competitors that are coming up there for all of us in this agentic type of world. And so now you have to figure out ways that you can scale the same value delivery that you're giving to your top customers across the entire customer base. And we could talk about, how we think about that. And then on the flip side, of course, AI does give advantages also to customer success teams. And I'll pause there, but there's many ways that I see that going on as well through my purview.
Dude, Josh, I mean, there's some fascinating points there. And I think one of the biggest ones that everyone's seeing is, for years, companies have had kind of a plethora of so many organizations that sell technology to them. I remember a quote some years back if you look at the marketing technology stack, it had gone from 10 organizations providing services, this is probably 10 years ago, to 5 years ago, thousands of them, literally. AI is added to that complexity because it isn't just one vertical, it's across everything. So you're so right that I, as an organization, I'm now suddenly getting every vendor I deal with saying they do AI. I'm getting AI organizations that just do AI coming to me from a different angle. And to your other point, I'm getting my own teams picking it up. And it's almost like, many years ago when it was a bring your own device and things, and people were starting to do more with their own mobile, but it's that, but accelerated. And I think
you're dating yourself, Jason.
but the vibe coding thing's fascinating as well, because anyone can pick it up and have a go. But is vibe coding good enough for the enterprise? It's all right using AI to code and build something for you, but can it build it and maintain it and grow it and scale it at the same level as an enterprise organization? I think it can, but maybe not as seamlessly as we'd like it to just yet. It will do, but not yet. So with this fascinating transition period where there's all of this great stuff happening, and it makes it more confusing for companies. It really does.
Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking about this call we're on right now, this recording, and different note takers popped up in my background, like my note AI note taker that wants to take the call. You guys are using Gemini right now. We've got granola in the background somewhere, I think, too. Like, of course, I come from my own note taking company. Like, there's just so many options that are out there. I think, Jason, I was talking to our CEO, Chuck Ganapati, actually 2 nights ago. And we talk a lot about this stuff. Like, we don't want to hide from we're the market leader. Like AI is not coming after us. Like, we need to lean in on this, which is, by the way, why I think we're doing well with it. But I said to him, like, you can't predict what's going to happen to any software beyond 18-month horizon at this point.
Right.
And I think, and I said to him, I think we're safe, honestly, that 18-month horizon. And we think as well beyond that, but you just don't know. You just don't know because because nobody out there can predict what's going to happen, with the growth curve in intelligence of all these things. And so I think that companies that are providing software to SMBs and I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I believe, in the next 18 months. And companies like Gainsight that are more enterprise driven, enterprise built, there's a little bit more of a lock in there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for enterprises to really kind of be able to vibe themselves and to substitute the types of stuff that we do. Again, beyond that, I don't know. Nobody knows yes or no, right? But some of our best customers, enterprise customers, are doing their own vibe coding, as well. I think of Sophia Barbosa, She's the CCO at BMC. And in 2025, she assembled an entire like go-to-market engineering team, a little pod, like a tiger team for her, to build out. I don't know we call it vibe coding, but to build out, all these different modules.
Right.
And they're doing it. They're doing it now. In order to do that, she has to assemble the team. She's got to pay for the headcount. She's got to get that team to maintain all their she has to now run a new group within her overall department. And it's still experimental because they still don't know where it's going to go. And so, and how it's going to scale. So you can do it at the enterprise level, but it really takes a lot of volition, a lot of discipline, a lot of focus. And I think for Gainsight, like for ourselves, BMC is still one of our best customers, right? They still need the reliability of the infrastructure that we provide them. Like you still need a home for all the data, an architectural blueprint for all the data. So from our perspective, I want to embrace, honestly, when I'm out there talking to customers, I don't want to hide from the whole build versus buy thing. I want to tell them at all sizes of companies, go build, try it out, learn. Otherwise you're going to fall behind. It's fine. Gainsight is going to be fine because you're still going to need us, because you're not going to want to maintain a CSP at scale at an enterprise level. That's just not going to be your interest or your expertise. Right. I don't know. I'm drifting there, and maybe I'm plugging Gainsight too much here, but it's something that's very relevant to our company, which is why I'm talking about it.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot to that, and it's still early days in the AI world, and it's exciting and it's fascinating. And, we've also seen hype cycles like this with other technologies in the past too, that what really shakes out in practicality may be, less than what people are fantasizing about now, but a lot more than what we have today. I'm kind of curious though, when you're actually, since you guys are integrating AI into Gainsight and you're obviously talking with customers, what are the AI integrated tools that customers most want right now when they're working with their customer success teams? Are there certain things you're saying, wow, there's a lot of usage and uptick of this AI functionality we've built out, or there's a lot of demand waiting for this to come next? What are you seeing out there?
I hear a lot of want around QBR generators, helping prep for meetings still. Some of the basic stuff is still some of the most coveted stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's interesting to me because I've been talking with a lot of AI thought leaders in different areas and folks on the technical side, folks on the business side, and it still comes back to they're a lot of people are still trying to automate or use a digital employee to do whatever they're doing today, and not really coming back and saying, do we even need QBRs anymore? Is there some other way that we can get around them? So it is kind of interesting, at least from what you described, of people just trying to do shit faster, more efficiently. It may be more effective.
No, I mean, I think right now,
I wonder if that's a
sorry,
misunderstanding, isn't it? Sorry, Josh. Is it not a misunderstanding, but people just not beginning to grasp the potential of it? Because how much AI's changed over the last 12, 18 months, and almost on a daily basis, you're hearing about, the Perplexity compute that came out 2 days ago. We had co-work the day before that. It's really difficult unless you're in that field to keep up with it. And I think a lot of people have still stuck and anchored around this. I can use an interface just to ask questions. And to your point, just get it to help me write better. That's what you see most people do. But I don't think people are yet understanding well the use cases they can use it for. And I think we in any technology space, and we're part of what we've got to do is help educate customers as to these are other things to do. And I love the idea of, when you've talked about BMC having kind of these pods that are just experimenting, just trying things out. That's got to be the way to do it. But you need someone that can really have that leadership that says, do this. This is what we should do, and don't be afraid of it.
There's different levels out there. A lot of people still are stuck at the whole help me automate my meeting prep, which, by the way, is hugely valuable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's easier to think about what the AI digital twin is of your existing workflow. Like you're suggesting, guys, like we need to start thinking about how we can transform the workflow, right? Like what we're doing today. I think what we're most excited about, if I'm being honest with you, is we've got this thing called Atlas. Atlas is our autonomous AI agent that's still in a little bit of 0 to 1. Quite frankly, we're still working with our first customers. But what we're really excited about, like we're running a renewal agent through Atlas that autonomously end to end can handle your renewals for long tail customers. Like that to us is transformational. Yeah. That's not just, that's not just helping like augment and give a little bit of productivity to your CS team. Like that's helping to just change the entire script a bit. So that for us is really cool. And there's also, we're working on adoption as well for that. Like how can you automate through agentic what you can do to help drive adoption of usage for users. I hear a lot of folks that are out there looking for use cases around customer intelligence. So, we have, of course, this product called Staircase AI, which does a really great job at that. And that's like honestly been like the hottest seller at the company over the past year, because it's just like people are like, yes, like I want to know exactly the intelligence of what's going on. I don't want just like old, like V 1.0 was just health scores, right? Like, but now we're in this place where you can get like the full dossier on everything that's going on with your customer across all data points. And so that product is doing really well. There's also people that are vibe coding, building their own. Maybe vibe coding is kind of marginalizing it, but they're building their own. They're taking data and they're playing around with it and doing their own intelligence scoring. So that's another trend that I'm seeing that's been very helpful for folks.
Wow, that's fantastic. You mentioned that some folks are using it for QBR prep and to facilitate those discussions. Is there a lot of direct engagement with end customers that you're seeing out there? Like, they're coming over the chatbots, they're doing more self-service, whatever it may be. And if that is starting to come in there, what's sort of been the reaction from end customers? Are they satisfied with the impact and the results they're getting from AI tools as opposed to talking with an actual human?
Yeah, with Atlas, we were curious about that ourselves, because here we are, we're driving renewals autonomously, meaning that we're sending emails, we're making phone calls, directly interfacing with the customer through a robot, right? Through like AI. We're like, wow, how is this? Like, because it can't be like calling up the pharmacy and going through like press 1, press 2, or like having to repeat yourself 3 times because they can't understand your pronunciation, right? Like, it's got to really work. It's really got to be fluid. And honestly, like we've been super impressed. I think just because like now the technology of voice AI is there, and people appreciate the efficiency of it. So far so good. We also have a product that called Skill Jar that does customer education, and kind of runs university curriculum for folks to help them understand how to use products better. One of the ways that we've incorporated AI is it'll automatically, adjust the content based on new information it finds in help articles, and then that ultimately then is placed to the customer themselves as well. People appreciate that, being able to work off latest and greatest information and not stale data. So I think so far people have embraced it, and I think everybody's like just has this genuine curiosity and like intrigue with it as well. Yeah, we all feel like design partners, whether we are officially or not.
I'm also wondering, because I know there's some folks out there that are worried about data privacy and security as they're thinking about AI in their organizations or from their vendors and those sort of pieces, or the AI hallucinating or giving false information or whatever's going on. Are there areas that you've experimented with or that your customers are telling you about that let's not go there now, or it's not ready for prime time, or they're more concerned and don't want to have AI touching certain aspects of their business just yet, but they're happy to go in other areas?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are. Nothing comes off top of mind. I can tell you that one of the speed bumps for teams, working with AI, whether it's build versus buy, is just like, what's the data availability? Yep. Do they have the data all there that they can, in a structured way, kind of look through? So that's been, I think, something that's kind of handcuffed folks. I think these LLMs and everything are becoming more and more enterprise grade, more and more sitting in their own environment, not training on each other, walled garden type of stuff. So I think those concerns are starting to diminish a little bit as far as security, but you've obviously got CISOs that are probably very hawkish right now as well.
Yeah, very, very true.
How are you finding kind of customers on their kind of wantingness to invest in AI technology. What's kind of the feedback from CFOs? Are they expecting AI to be baked in? Are they seeing it as something that they think there's extra value in? And if in either of those, are they seeing the ROI they need on it? What is this changing the conversations with a financial part of the customers?
Yeah, I just as you guys know, I'll plug my podcast Unchurned,
Sure.
right? And I just got off the call, back-to-back recordings here. I was just recording with Manish Chavla. He's the CCO at Power School, and he said something. He's like, customers now have the expectation that AI is included. It's no longer just an add-on. It's just got to be table stakes. And I agree with that. I think that is the case right now. I think there's, CFOs, they probably understand this idea again of like experimental revenue. Like they're just, they'll pay for POCs and they'll pay, and kind of see what to be able to compare different solutions and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just table stakes right now for if you're a SaaS company out there.
I think that's the key thing, and this is it's what we've always done in tech. The more and more this comes out, people expect it to be part of the product. I think what we're seeing now is just this pace of acceleration is like nothing we've seen before, as I said earlier. Yeah. And I think it makes a lot of these conversations more challenging, because what are the next 12 months going to bring? What else am I going to have to be investing in? How's it going to change? And it is, I think you're so right that it's, I expect this product to have this baked in. I don't expect to pay a lot more for it, but
right.
And that's every tool I'm doing. I loved what you said earlier on about, using the agents to do renewals, because you can imagine, would you like to renew? Press 1 to say yes, press 2 to say no.
Yeah.
But you could see some organizations.
Yeah. Well, cool about AI
is so important.
Totally, and an advantage AI would have in that situation is like, and maybe this is a little bit from my background with Update, but not only can I go through the conversational flow in that renewal example you just gave with Atlas, like, and the agent can mimic a human pretty well, but what it can also do is there's opportunities there to ask, like, okay, great, but like, how are you feeling about the product, right? Like, give us what's working, what's not working. And now all of a sudden, as opposed to that information being siloed in the minds of 100 different renewal managers, now it goes into a central database somewhere that can be mined. And now you can synthesize all the patterns of what your long tail customers are thinking about, what they like and don't like about your product, surface that directly to your CPO, or whoever the powers might be that build the product. And now you've unlocked so much gold in that feedback that never before would you have been able to do.
Yeah. Right. One of the things you mentioned that I also thought was interesting was getting adoption of AI and tools and other things. And, a large part of my background has been helping organizations with adoption, especially around CRM systems, for 20 years. And some of the things that I'm hearing from folks that are implementing AI or we're talking about it, it's the same challenges of, you can get an individual to engage with the tool however they want to, like, B2C type stuff. It's easy for them. But getting everyone to do it at scale across the organization and in the same way. And like you mentioned, creating that clean data that the AI tools are going to need is going to be a big challenge. I'm kind of curious to see, where are customer success folks having trouble adopting AI tools, or what additional support do you think they're going to need as the technology is evolving and so rapidly as well too? It's a huge change effort for the CS team and the rest of the organization. So what challenges do you see there? What are some thoughts you have on how that companies could best address that?
I think the challenges are probably self-imposed. And I face this challenge myself even as well. It's like, oh, today's busy. I don't have the time, right? I don't have the time to play around. And there's other challenges, like if they don't have, like if their company doesn't allow it, right? Certain solutions, right? But just on a one-to-one basis, I think the biggest challenge is CSMs and all functions are very busy in their day-to-day, and you have to stay really disciplined to build that sandbox playground time in your calendar so that you can play around with this stuff and learn. It's really the only way just to experiment. Find, start building something that'll help you in your day job, or start building something on the side. The other thing, we talk about like the product evolution through AI. At Gainsight now, and I came up through product management for 15 years. Like my
Right.
identity until recently professionally was as a product manager. It's actually very interesting for me. Like just recently, I've only recently hit this inflection point of like, oh, I'm not a product manager anymore. Like that was like a bit of an identity hit for me. But product management is changing dramatically too now. Like some of our best ideas that are, I don't know if they're in production yet, but they're at least in the roadmap or they're in like the POC V1 stages, aren't coming from your traditional product managers. I'm not trying to disparage our PM team, but like, I was talking to our product analyst, who kind of sifts through all the usage data and trends and patterns that we have at Gainsight. And now he's creating something that we think could be a killer feature for us. It has to do with like a new version of health scoring and dashboarding and stuff like that. Chuck, our CEO, spent some weekends in the month of February and January vibe coding his own, kind of extension of Staircase in some ways. That was like a little bit of a mobile app version of it. And now that's something that we're considering. Like people are just, innovation is just coming from all over. That's the other advantage of having your team play around with it, is it's an enabler, but you can also crowdsource really good ideas for your product.
That's incredible, because I think it is a whole different. Anybody can come up with these ideas. You just have to be able to articulate it in the language you speak. That's it.
Yeah.
And the technology then enables you to build something, and it does. And it's fascinating because the whole scope of product management innovation has suddenly expanded massively.
Yeah.
And you might get someone in who's never thought about this before, and these ideas, like you say, suddenly your roadmap's got these things in that a couple of years back, no one who's contributing now would have been coming up with these ideas. And there might be massive gold mines there for everybody, really deliver value for customers.
100%. I mean, one of the initiatives that I'm driving is a transformation of our instance reviews. Instance reviews are just basically looking at somebody's Gainsight instance, right? Their setup, their configuration, the features they have turned on versus what they don't, what they've paid for that they're using versus what they have, like that, those sorts of things. And it historically has taken CSMs over 10 hours to put together a thorough instance review, because you have to download the configuration file for the customer. You have to like really sift through it, understand and like compare it again to like their contract of what they have the ability to use. Like really go through, understand best practices, put that all into slides. We said we want to agentify this, and we put together a Tiger team. We worked with a partner. They're called Method Garage. We worked with them in the very early phase of it to really kind of do discovery and build out the prototype. Okay, like, well, how can we like reinvent this workflow and agentify it? And they did incredible work with us. And then we said, okay, great. Like, let's go build the scalable version of this. And so we took some of our, CSMs at the company who are, let's say, like the most AI inclined these days. And now we've got this task force that together through our revenue operations team, not through traditional engineering, not through product management. It's RevOps, myself as the executive sponsor, and about 3 to 4 really AI inclined folks, in the CS group that are agentifying instance reviews and building our own internal solution. And then, of course, hopefully we can incorporate that into the product at the right point as well.
Very cool.
That's very, very awesome. Well, it's amazing how fast these conversations go, and I see we're almost out of time. So before we go, I want to ask you our breakthrough challenge. And the question for you is, if a SaaS leader was going to take one action in the next 30 days to really accelerate their AI efforts and protect GRR, what would it be?
Oof. Well, as the leader, if you're not in it yourself, then you're failing your team.
Yeah.
Because and it's, again, like leaders are busy. I don't have time. I have to prep for the board. I have to do that. No, like you have to play with it yourself. Like the aha moment for us was when Chuck sent out the company email with the screenshots of the code of the mobile app that he had vibe coded, and he's like, "Great, you guys all need to do this as well." That's the number one imperative for leaders. And if they don't do it, they're not only holding their team back, but they're holding themselves back as well.
That's awesome.
I think that's spectacular as well, because it's showing how important that thinking is, and the realization that this is something very different now, but also that I as the CEO, I can do this, guys. I can innovate. Anybody can.
Yeah.
It's a really, really powerful message. And I think it must be challenging for organizations to get someone at that level to think like that. But really key. I love that.
Absolutely. It comes from the top, right? Like everything, like culture is set from the top,
yep.
and it's part of the culture.
Absolutely. All right, Josh, before we go, we always like to invite our guests to do a shameless plug. So anything that you would like to share and let people know how to get in touch with you if you'd like that, or your time to get your message out there.
Thanks, man. I think I've shamelessly plugged enough here. I didn't come on the show planning to just talk all Gainsight, but it is relevant because these are the things that like we are experts in, but we are also like day to day ourselves in our own operations, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, you've got great listeners, and we'd love for your listeners and for our listeners to be listening to each other's podcasts. So, yeah, so Unchurned, check out Unchurned. It's a post-sales retention podcast that I host. It was part of my startup, and Gainsight took it over as well. And then I'd love for folks to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've been trying to publish some cool content, and we have a Substack for Unchurned as well. So if you just go to unchurned.gainsight.com, we've got some cool articles there that we're publishing that are more like, they're not corporate-y, they're behind the scenes types of stuff that we want to have be really truly valuable for the community.
Fantastic. And we'll include links to those in the show notes as well too. Josh, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time and your insights.
Thank you, Josh. Been a really cool conversation.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to Breakthrough SaaS Growth with the Jasons. If you found today's episode useful, make sure you subscribe, check out our website at breakthroughsaasgrowth.com, and follow us on all the usual social media channels for more insights and updates. And don't forget to share this show with your colleagues who are driving growth in SaaS. See you next time.